All right. Again, good morning, everyone. My name is Paul Goleniak, and I'm part of the professional services team at EPLAN. And with me today is Derick Santa Maria. He's going to provide us with the live presentation of the software today. So our goal is to show you how to use EPLAN to speed up your design process. So I am going to share my screen. I have a bit of a little presentation to start with us. And I'll just move some things out of the way just so that's a little bit easier to see. So just to give you a quick glance of EPLAN, and before we really get started into what EPLAN is or who EPLAN is, just want to touch on the evolution of a project, and so kind of how the project moves through through an ecosystem, or through the process. So traditionally, typically we'd see an operator that would do the planning and specifications for that particular project. Once that project has been spec'd out with the different maybe the component manufacturers, you'll also see that project move on to an OEM or system integrator that's going to start the detailed or the more of the engineering functionalities for that particular project. As the panel starts to be developed and defined, the panel drawings then would be, or panel documentation then would be sent to the panel builder, where the panel builder will then order all of the parts that are going to be required to build that panel, start to place those parts in the panel, as well as wiring all of those components up. And once that panel has gone through the testing phase, it'll be sent back over to the OEM or system integrator, where the panel will be incorporated into the machine for commissioning purposes, and then ultimately the machine being run off or signed off on by the operator, where then the operator will continue to do their maintenance and run that machine for hopefully years to come. So now who is EPLAN? So EPLAN is a part of the within the Freedom Low organization, or the Freedom Low group. Freedom Low is a worldwide privately owned company. So you can see across 50 different countries worldwide, there's over 11,000 employees. And so where does EPLAN sit in that? EPLAN is also a worldwide organization, part of the Freedom Low group as well. So over 50 different countries, again, 1,100 employees worldwide. We currently are sitting at over 61,000 customers worldwide, and that equates to about over 209,000 licenses around the world of the different EPLAN products. So when we talk about going from change to chance, the technology improvements, we're seeing that technology changing very rapidly nowadays, and even more so than it was even just maybe 7 or 8 years ago. With the adoption of Industry 4.0 and how data is actually collected, we're finding more opportunities to work more in a digital environment and identify opportunities for more standardization, as well as how can we be more efficient in our engineering. So what we may have been using or may have been doing so much in the past, and having that repetitive feeling of what I'm trying to say, I guess, is the comfort within our current environment, and how can we have that chance to make improvements and be more efficient. And that's what we want to show you today within the EPLAN EPLAN platform. So for different industries, where our strongest, or where our partners are strong, we have EPLAN can provide you an opportunity to do your automated design design projects in different industries. For example, with automotive or just simple plant construction or plant automation, to panel build, and also food and beverage. We also expand out to different process industries with oil and gas and energy, and even with shipbuilding in the maritime industries as well. Our partnerships are very strong. Strategic partnerships with obviously with Rittal being a sister company, as well as and Rittal Automation. So every year we are a major major partner with the Rockwell Automation Fair and other fairs that'll happen during the course of the year. And you can see some of our other technical partners, solution partners, and we'll touch on that here too. But you can get a quick idea or feel for the different global companies that we have a strong partnership with. So where does EPLAN fit in the everyday business? Well, the platform, the EPLAN platform itself, the project environment allows for all of our various products to connect together to have one system, one expert system that allows for the projects to communicate together and have more of a collaborative effort within the project data. So for example, with doing my electrical schematics, I might also have some hydraulic and pneumatic diagrams, and so having there be a connection or strong communication between those different components that are going to have the same device tagging, whether it's in the electrical or on the fluid page. We want to make sure that we have that strong relationship. So just to touch on some of the various products within that platform environment. So you have the opportunity to have a more high level automated engineering solution, to where you could use a configurator in order to essentially create your project documentation with a click of a button, utilizing macro technology. And we'll talk about that as we get into the live presentation of macro technology. And EPLAN is having these standard building blocks that allow you to place these building blocks throughout your project to automate the design process. We take that even further with some automated engineering functionality to just simply check different functions or different options on and off, and have your drawings automatically created for you. Well, you can't necessarily do that without having the necessary tools available. So pre-planning gives us an opportunity to have bring in a large amount of independent data and import that information in, or be able to manage a large quantity of data in a more strategic environment. I mentioned fluid, hydraulic, pneumatic. You have that capability within the EPLAN environment to not only do your design and show your documentation relevant to hydraulic and pneumatic, but you can also take, for example, your switches for cylinders, or maybe your solenoid valves, your valving, your electrically driven functionality for devices that can be identified within the electric P8 environment. So electric P8 is going to give us that opportunity to do our controls design for different various machines or plant layouts. You can also have the project contain the entire plant, multiple panels maybe within the project as well. ProPanel is also a product of the of EPLAN that gives an electrical engineer that that opportunity to work in a three-dimensional environment, and we call this our digital twin environment, where the operator can, the engineer can actually rotate this panel around in space and make sure that there's no collisions within the panel. Make sure that I can shut the door, before I actually start cutting and drilling this panel. I want to make sure that I don't have any issues with any collisions. And so being able to having the opportunity to take advantage of 3D models that have already been created in another, maybe in a 3D mechanical tool, we can easily import that step file or that model into EPLAN and use that model in placing the components onto the panel. Once the panel has been created, that electrician has defined, or the engineer has defined, where all the components are going to be laid out, the documentation, the project documentation that identifies every wire within the panel can then be sent to the electrician on the floor. So when they are building the panel, they can utilize a tool called Smart Wire, and Smart Wiring allows the electrician to navigate through each of the individual wires of the panel. They can do some filtering. They can also see here exactly where a wire is connected to and from, and you get some additional detailed information of what the length of the wire may be. You can also jump right into the schematics, so makes your design process, and more importantly, the electricians will be able to build that panel much quicker than having to thumb through hundreds of pages, or several pages of schematics to try to find where the wires are connected to and from. This gives the electrician a quick view of those wires. Harness Pro D is another product within the platform that allows us to do some documentation for more so cabling and wire harnessing in a three-dimensional environment. You can also take advantage of a 2D environment if you would like to, but you can see here you may have some wire harnessing that is going to be need to be routed and identified throughout a particular machine, or around a machine, and this gives you some real life length calculations, be able to generate your nail board in order to manufacture that particular harness. We do have a strong relationship with being able to connect to third-party systems. So we've developed connectors, and we have a lot of some standard connectors. We also have some companies that are available that are using, or that have a ERP or PDM system that maybe is a little bit different than others, and maybe it's an internal system. We have the opportunity within the EPLAN environment to connect directly to those third-party systems. So if you do have an internal ERP system or an internal PDM system, we have the expertise within the EPLAN family to be able to help you navigate that connection. The EPLAN cloud gives us an opportunity to have manufacturers' part information available to us right away within the cloud environment. So traditionally, maybe we go to a manufacturer's website, we look up part information, and then we want to use that part within our project. But we're having to go to the manufacturer's website and do some searching around for different part data. The data portal gives us the opportunity to go directly to one source where we have over 350 different manufacturers providing part information to the users, all the EPLAN users around the world. So there's currently 1.1 million parts on the data portal today, and that gives you the opportunity to streamline having to go to the manufacturer's website to look for parts, where you go to the data portal first, look for the part in the data portal, download that part, and use that part immediately in your EPLAN environment. We'll do a demonstration on that as well. eView and eBuild and eManage, we'll just touch on that a little bit more as we get into here. For example, with eView, gives me an opportunity to take my project and push it to the cloud so that I can provide this project as a or share this project with someone else within my organization, or maybe my customer needs to sign off on the design. I can push my project to the cloud. I can give my give access to this project to my customer, and they can go through the process of checking. For example, you can see some check marks indicating that everything is good. There might be a message that the customer wants to, or maybe it's the project is on the floor and the electrician needs to send some information or some notes back to engineering. They can then mark this project up through the markup functionality and give some feedback as to what may need to be changed, or whether or not, like we see here, the check marks indicating everything is good to go. You also have an opportunity within the eManage environment to also take your project and push the project itself, the backup of the project, up to the cloud, and this project will be available also to to your customers, or even to others within your organization. eView is actually also within the eManage environment, so we don't necessarily have to just be in eView to pass the markups back and forth. We can actually do all of that within the eManage environment. So we are always evolving. Like I mentioned before, technology is constantly changing. So we are evolving our cloud solutions to incorporate things like, for example, eView came out first, eManage came out second. So we're incorporating some of the eView right into eManage, so that way we're consolidating our cloud solutions at the same time. So we'll just touch on here, just again, some of our partners that we have strong integrations with on the PLC side. You can see within the EPLAN environment, you're going to have access to bidirectional interfacing with these different PLC manufacturers. Also, I mentioned the PLM and the ERP systems, companies that we have very strong relationships with for those third-party products. And then, of course, on the production side, taking your panel information and sending that directly to these types of machines to have your panels cut, or maybe you have your drill holes you need to define. Maybe there's also some wiring or cabling that you want to do. You can send data directly out of the EPLAN environment to these different systems. And lastly, our services, we do offer, of course, training is vital to your onboarding journey with EPLAN. Consulting opportunities allow us to work one-on-one with you to ensure that your expectations are being met within the EPLAN environment. We also provide you with global support, as well as other experiences and solutions, areas that you can gain additional knowledge. For example, within the support, having access to Solution Center or FAQs to see if there's maybe something that somebody else was doing, and you want to see about maybe some additional support or help in that direction. So with that, I want to thank you for attending today, and I'll go ahead and I'll hand the ball off to Derick, and he'll go through a live presentation for you. Okay, you should be all set, Derick.
All right, thank you. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. Hello, everybody. My name is Derick. I'm an EPLAN certified engineer. I've been with the company since 2018. First and foremost, I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you for taking the time out of your busy day in order to join us here today. Without further ado, let me show you how you can automate your design process using EPLAN. So let's get started here. For those of you who might have not seen EPLAN before, this is our latest and greatest version. This is the EPLAN Electric PA 2022. It was released this year, and as you can see, it's very modern. It's got the same technology as your typical Microsoft Office product, where therefore you can easily navigate through the different functions within EPLAN. You can even generate or create your own tabs in order to gain access to your frequently used features. So what I have here is a project that is partially completed. The idea for this demonstration is to basically complete this project. This is a typical machine in the industrial automation. It's a grinding machine. Now, with this project, I've already got my power coming in and then some schematics. I also have here a blank schematics page where I'm going to show you the basic design process in EPLAN. When you have a blank schematic page open, there's a navigator here called Insert Center. Within the Insert Center, you're able to browse for a specific symbol that you're looking for. Now, if you're using NSPA or IEC, those symbol libraries will always be available for you. What's great about this symbol library is that they're organized by type. For example, if you're looking for a terminals, or if you're looking for example, a power consumer such as motor, you can simply navigate through your symbol library. Let's say I want to place a motor in my schematic. I can simply go to the group where I can find that. For example, this one, this is a typical motor with 4 connection points. When I want, if I'm ready to use it, all I have to do is drag it over to my page, and as soon as I place it on the schematic, EPLAN notices the symbol itself, and notice how it's also tagged by where I place it, right? So 1405 is the row number. I wouldn't have to manually type that in, right? And there's also, Paul mentioned this earlier, we have the data portal. This is integrated within the platform. The data portal is our online repository of parts. All the data comes directly from the manufacturer. So far, we have more than 300 manufacturers in the data portal. This includes major manufacturers such as Allen Bradley, Phoenix Contact, and Siemens. Now, it's very simple. It's very simple to find the device that you need in the data portal. You can simply search for it, or you can browse by the catalog and set some filters here. But if as long as you know the part number itself, you can simply copy and paste it here within the search bar, and the data portal will find that part for you. For example, this circuit breaker from Allen Bradley, very typical industrial circuit breaker. Now, this particular component, if I were to download it, as you can see, it's got data available that I can put and download into my own parts database. That includes the 3D macro and the 2D graphical representation. So all I have to do is simply download this. Now, there's also another option here to insert the part directly onto my schematic. Let me demonstrate. So as soon as I click that option, I can hit OK. And now the macro, the function template is now attached to my cursor, and I can simply press Tab in order to rotate this particular device, and I can place it onto my schematic. Now, as you can see, EPLAN recognizes a connection between my motor and my motor overload. Now, this connection is going to be used later on as we generate our connection list. All right. Now, what if I try to move my devices in order for me to make space for other devices? I can simply do that. Now, notice how my device tags didn't automatically update. However, that's something you can do with a click of a button in EPLAN. All you have to do is go to devices and renumber them based on a scheme that you select here. And as soon as I hit OK, EPLAN will recognize the new row number where they are placed, and they will be then updated. Now, within the Insert Center, I can also insert what we call macros or blocks in general. I can simply add in a interruption point just like this. I'll show you the functionality of that. And then I can also insert some angled connections in order to complete the schematic. Now notice how from the interruption point, I've got these green text. These are called cross-reference text. I can jump from the existing power line in order for me to go back and forth between the two. So these power lines will allow me to show where my connections go within my project. As you can see, I can jump back and forth between any of them. And then I can simply finish off this project, this schematic, by adding more macros, such as my contacts. I can also number them. Notice how EPLAN recognizes the row number again. And then I've got here some terminals that I can use. And now that I've completed my schematic, I can go to connections and update and see that all the colors also changed because this is coming from the existing potential. Now at this point, I'm ready to tag my wires. This is also something you can automate in EPLAN. All you have to do is select the page that you're currently using and place your definition points. This is a two-step process. Now, when I do this, EPLAN will recognize all of the signals within this page and will indicate that it's ready to be tagged. Now, after I place these connection definition points, I can do the next step, which is to enter the designation. And EPLAN will then give me a preview of the results. If I'm happy with it, I can simply hit OK, and now all of my wires are tagged. Now these tag numbers, they're very simple. It's just the row number and a counter. You can customize this however you want. You can have the source or the target as your tag number. I'm gonna go ahead and complete my project using my standardized and pre-built macros or blocks within EPLAN. For example, this motor macro. This motor macro I've created it so that I can always use it for future reference. For example, this motor, I've already configured the contacts. These contacts always cross-reference to the main function, which is the coil, and I can simply jump back and forth between those two. Now on the second ladder, I can continue with the design. I can drag it over my pneumatics, number them automatically, and then there you go. I'm done with the project. Now, what's great about EPLAN is that you can generate your reports automatically since it's a database driven system. EPLAN knows where all your devices are, and it can simply generate your reports. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and generate a set of reports that I have here. You can create your own templates. If you take a look here, you can select from all these different reports available for you, including PLC diagrams, terminal diagrams. They're all here, okay? In our case, what I want to do is generate all the reports that I have here listed. Now, just like that, EPLAN built my parts list. Let's take a look. As you can see, all of the devices that I have existing in the project have been automatically generated. This is the complete list of parts that I have. And then this third one, this is a customized form that I built. This is a summarized parts list where I included the part number and also the order number or ERP number for purchasing. I've also added the amount of or the quantity of where this particular part shows up, a very brief description, a very nice image of the part, and also if you take a look here, there's the manufacturer's QR code to the data sheet. This is something you can build within the platform. You have to put it in your parts database information. Now this form, you can customize it however you want. You can add more columns here and add whatever necessary data you need for production purposes. I have here a connection list. Remember, all of the graphical lines that you saw in the schematic pages, they have logic behind them, including the length of the wires, the cross section, and this particular report will show you the point-to-point connection, the source and the target. So you can see here. Now, the last thing I wanted to show you is how you can export your bill of materials as an Excel file. Now, a lot of people have to do it manually. They have to manually type it in Excel, go through each page of their schematics, and that would take a lot of time. Now, within EPLAN, there's a built-in feature here called labeling, where you can export data out of your project. In our case, what I'm going to do, I've set up a scheme where it's going to generate a bill material in Excel format. So let's have a look. Now EPLAN is reading the database and generating this Excel file, and it'll automatically start the application as soon as it's done. As you can see, I've used a specific template for this purpose. You can use your own template, your company template, and with the click of a button, I'm able to generate this Excel file. It's got all the information I need when it comes to purchasing, including the vendor and the ERP number. Therefore, that will save me a lot of time during production. Now, there's a lot more into this powerful software. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. And at this point, I will go ahead and hand it over back to Paul so we can take some questions. Paul?
All right. Thank you, Derick. Great job. If anybody has any questions, you can certainly type them into the Q&A section here. I know that we already have a question that has come in relevant to the integration with Windchill, and if we have any examples. With regard to that question, we can reach out and schedule an opportunity to discuss what you'd like to see. We can have a separate call on that. That is a potentially future topic for a webcast that we would look at. But if you want to have some additional discussions, we can set up a meeting with our PLM and ERP expert to have those discussions. Are there any other questions? So there's one other question that came up, and Derick, I'll let you go ahead and answer this one. The question has to do with updating of the device tags and updating of the wire tags. So if, for example, if my page number changes and I'm numbering based on page and row or something like that, can the wire numbers and the device tags be updated again after they've already been placed?
Yes, absolutely. You would have to just go through the same process that I showed you. EPLAN will recognize that you've changed the page number, and based off of that, it'll automatically update the devices as well.
Good. Well, it doesn't look like there are any other questions, so we'll go ahead and we will end today's session. And again, we want to thank you for attending and wish everybody a great rest of the day.